Is it working? It's recording. Okay. All right, so we are now being recorded, and I'll re-snap picture of the page. And let's see, I have an agenda as well, so let's see if I can get all my ducks in a row here. So let's start with some announcements. So election. So next month, May 5th, at that meeting, we're going to have elections. And Ron Norris and Chris Mendes have been our nominating committee chairs or committee. We also set up an email that I sent out called election@orchidsanfrancisco.org that if you want to vote by ballot in advance, you can just email it that way, versus if you're going to be there live, you can vote live May 5th at the meeting like this. And let's see, I'm going to try polling. Let's see what happens. I'll just test this out while we're here. So maybe that wasn't a good idea. Our favorite Orchid test. Poll. All right.
Jeff, this is the Andersons. Can you hear us?
I can. Is this Fred?
Yeah, this is Fred and Jan.
Hi. Good to see you both.
We're in Southern California.
Yeah, you could make it.
Yes.
First time.
Good, good. We usually see at the shows.
Right.
Okay, so, and I hear a cuckoo.
I don't know how to mute.
Okay, I'll put you on mute. There you go. All right, so I got too many things going on here. I was going to try a poll, but I think I'll play with that later. Can't do it easily. All right, so the first thing is to let everyone know, if you didn't see it in the newsletter, the current slate of officers. So I'm going to try to share my screen and show this to you. So 1 second. Let's see here. Okay, so I think you should be able to see my screen right now. And
Yep.
Yep.
okay, and I'm going to make this legible, hopefully. So this is from the that was in the newsletter. So our officers are mostly remaining, except Jeremiah wanted to step down as secretary, and John McCallan volunteered to step forward as the secretary, which opened up a position on the board or two. So we have the existing board members, Christian and Lynn, and then Lauren Iverson and Stuart Menaker have agreed to run for the board as well. So the officers and voted board members would be myself, Eric, John, Faye, Lauren, Christian, Lynn, and Stuart. And then Deborah has been on the board as the membership chair, and to make room to have new board members, that's can be moved as a non-elective board member, so she'd stay on the board, as well as the past president position that Dave Hermeyer's been filling. So this is what you would vote on, and if you have anyone else that wants to volunteer to be an officer, board, or some other chair, please speak up or let us know in the meantime. But we'll have that on May 5th and voting ahead of time. Any questions?
How many board members are there?
So there are 4 elected board members, and then there's other people, like the newsletter editor can be, and the membership chair can be technically non-voting, yes?
Yeah, so there's a total of 11. There's the non-elected ones are past president, membership chair by virtue of the position as a board member, and then the show chair is also a board member by virtue of their position. So there's 3 that are non-elected, and the rest are all elected positions. But there's a total of 11.
Thank you.
Yeah, we need a show chair. That's who we need.
Yeah, just missing that one.
Need a few people to step up for that. Okay. So Ron, did you want to speak? I kind of did it, but do you want to speak to that? Anything else you want to say?
Not unless anyone has any questions.
I'll
The-
run for show chair for Orchids in the Park for this year.
Yeah, Ron can be
Yes.
the show chair.
No, I don't think so. But at any rate, if you have any additional nominations, you can send them to the elections mailbox. I actually get those emails; those come to me. So, as the head of the nominating committee, I'll get those, and I'll also be conducting the vote next month when we do it online as well. So,
All right. So I'm sharing my screen again so you can see the agenda as I go through some of these. So these are my notes for things to talk about. So we're on number 3, was me reminding you that in this time of Amazon Prime and ordering online, that if you're not already a Smile member, if you haven't heard of it, it's in our newsletter. They donate money to charities, and we're actually a designated recipient. So like point-something% of everything you spend on Amazon, if you order it through smile.amazon.com and designate us, it'll be set it up. So whenever you buy stuff on Amazon, a percentage goes to us. San Francisco Orchid Society. Yeah. All right. The next announcement, someone kind of already alluded to. If you didn't see it in the newsletter or hear about it, we voted last board meeting to go ahead and cancel Orchids in the Park in July. We're still hoping that we'll be out and about by then, but we were worried that there just wasn't enough to plan for that and get it all right. And frankly, we didn't have a chair for it either, but so we'll work on a good POE 2021. And so I really do encourage people to step up and consider being a chair or co-chair for POE so we can do it better. And then along with that, canceling Orchids in the Park, we're set up now to try these virtual meetings, presumably until July, and hopefully we'll see how things go in the world. So how do I get this thing off my screen? There we go. Okay. So next announcement, a message to support your growers with online sales. So there's, I put it in the newsletter, it's on our website and our social media sites, links to all the people that grow. And in particular, the Tiny Jungle Let's Get Plants, Let's Talk Plants group that's been donating plants to our opportunity table for the past year and tonight. You know, it'd be great if you support them. They have an eBay site where you can buy things. And then
What's
the
the name
deal,
again?
it's the Tiny Jungle, but the eBay site is called Let's Talk Plants, all one word.
Okay.
And the links to them are in the emails and stuff that I sent out. So if you didn't read all this, at the end of the meeting tonight, we're going to save 10 minutes or so, and we're going to pull 10 names from the bowl. Everyone that attended got a ticket. If you RSVP'd, you got an extra time with your name in the bowl. And also if you sent pictures for show and tell or have something to share live show and tell, we can give you credit for that. And then those names will be drawn for the $20 worth of sales at Let's Talk Plants, Tiny Jungle. The way that will work, I'll have to tell you afterwards how you do that. But basically, we're going to pick up the shipping, and they're going to ship you an order, and you'll get $20 off. And there are things right there. And actually, let me see. I got this so that I could show it to you. Where is it? It's in here. All right, let's see if we can see these.
Oh, nice.
Hold on a second.
Also have their own website.
All right, so so this is from their email. This is their name, Let's Talk Plants, and some of the things that they posted just, I think this was earlier today. And you can see these are things they have at Buy It Now, $18, $14. So there's plenty of things on the site you can get for under $20. And this is the entry page of the eBay site. And then once you click into it, it's got ways to filter and Buy It Now or auction. And so Tony Wells is the person there along with Chris Mendes. And Tony is the one that does all of this technically. And for those that win, you'll deal with him directly. You can shop and look on eBay, but you'll actually redeem your certificate outside of eBay. Okay. So little plug there for that. Now let me get back to. Stop me, if you have questions as we go through this. What else? So participating in webinars. So we don't have an actual webinar of our own yet. I was kind of looking at content we can put out there, but there are links to things at the American Orchid Society, the AOS website. And actually, Lynn Morell did a little article, an AOS Corner article that I put on the website. And it's basically talks about using Orchid Pro, which is the available for AOS members on their site. So it's learning how to use that. And that's one of the upcoming webinars.
Okay.
They also have something they call Orchid Madness going on, which is sort of like a take on the basketball betting scheme.
March Madness.
March Madness, there you go. So it's a little silly, but like in April 3rd, they had like Phalaenopsis versus Vanda, and people, voted for those. And then there's kind of a Orchid Madness runoff going on through the month of April. So you'll see that at the AOS website if you check that out. And then I wanted to mention that we've been working with a new company the last several months called Hop Studios that took over from our prior webmaster who stepped down for personal reasons. And so we've been revamping our website and our social media. It's not revamped yet. I'm trying to get it all right before we roll it out. So in the meantime, I've been updating the content, so it's a little wonky, but the content is there. It doesn't look the prettiest, but when we get it all set to go, hopefully in the next couple of months, it will look nice and be easier for us to maintain. But please support us. Still, please go to the Facebook page or Instagram page and post pictures like what you're doing tonight. Do that, all the time, which, you can share all the time. And I think a lot of us have seen Angelique Nguyen of Orchid Design on there almost every day, at least once a day, posting stuff. So she's very active, and the rest of us could do that as well. What else? I talked about POE planning for 2021. So we haven't had a show committee. We had a debrief one in in May already. Yeah, I guess it was, I mean, in March, it was last month. So I have to decide when the next show committee will be. But usually it's the Monday night after our board meeting, which is the Monday night after our first Tuesday of the month member meeting. So if you're interested, we could certainly use help with planning the show. I plugged everyone to pay dues and noted that for the raffles, the winners have to be attending live during the meeting online here and have to have paid their dues to win. So we did get a few more people paying dues tonight, today. And finally, feedback and volunteer. So to help with doing this, I put this together. I got a lot of people to send in stuff for show and tell, but it would be nice to have some short talks. So like even a 5, 10, 15-minute talk on something of interest, like, I don't know, I noticed Ron had a cool labeling system he used at the show for member plant sales. So just, it wasn't that complicated, but it was kind of interesting to see how he did that. Eric was talking about his irrigation system. I asked him about maybe doing a video or something for that. So it doesn't have to be super high tech and a formal speaker. And so we're still figuring out the content for these meetings. My sense is that some people complain that our in-person meetings run a little long, the 3 hours or more. So for these online ones, I was thinking we start at 7 and try to wrap up by 8:30, just to make it a little more friendly to sitting on your butt in front of the computer or whatever. So, and then I should say, Lauren and Ron and I kind of brainstormed on some things. Here are some other ideas that came up, like your remedies for orchid pests, tips for how you extend your orchid blooms, or your tasks at this time of year for your space or your greenhouse. Sharing tips and tricks, is part of the reason people attend and want to learn from each other, and like how you repot or mount, or feedback from like people you've shopped with. Where do you buy media and pots or supplies? Who do you recommend or not recommend? Let us know those sort of things. So I'm going to stop talking for a minute and just make sure people have a chance to speak up. So let me see here. I'm going to stop sharing for a second so I can see everyone. So let's see here. All right. So has everyone learned, if you want to take yourself off mute, you can speak up. I'm going to take a minute and be quiet and just see if people have questions, comments, announcements for each other, anything you want to talk about before we'll start the show and tell next after this. Dave, I see you. I don't know why, but. All right. Anyone want to say anything? Yep. Or I'll carry on.
This is
Hey, Jeff,
Deborah.
it's Tanya.
This is Deborra.
Oh, hi,
Can you
Deborah.
hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. I've been listening to everything, even though I haven't listened to everything. And the agenda sounds really good. And I don't have any comments at this time. So, oh yeah, I have one comment. The concern regarding the length of the meetings,
Uh-huh.
I think that should be put on our new business agenda and really look at that.
Okay.
Because it's really long. And that's about it, right, with regards to what you said so far.
I have one
All right.
comment. I'd love to learn more about lights and orchids. What lights, artificial lights I have a floral cart, but I really don't know what wattage should be and what lights, what plants. I'd love to learn about that.
Okay. You know, I know we have some people that are good indoor growers, probably quite a few. You know, John gave a skill session. John McCowan gave a skill session several months back. I think it was more frag oriented, right? But it talked about his setup. So yeah, a few different people could do that. Oh, I met.
Oh, I have one more comment. And in relation to what she just said, I would like to learn about orchid names, you know, what the cultivar and the genus and the this and the that. You know, the parentage, the
Marnie has
heritage.
done a talk on that, and it's a really informative one. It's been years ago now. We could ask her to do that again.
That'll be great.
Awesome.
Lights.
Hey
Okay.
Jeff, it's Tanya. Can you hear me?
Yes. Uh-huh.
So I'm very happy. I got the greatest birthday gift yesterday by
Belated happy birthday.
rainwater. So anyone wants to see how I set up my collection on collecting rainwater, very welcome. I'm in San Jose. And also thank you for having this because I usually can't drive to San Francisco on Tuesday night to attend the meeting. So it's wonderful that I can join by conference. So thank you
Great.
for doing that.
Great, great.
Yeah. So are you gonna can you videotape it or do a little presentation? Do you think, or on the rainwater?
Yeah, I could, and then maybe do a 10-minute or maybe even shorter video showing my setup and share.
Yeah. Why
Yeah,
not?
that's great. I'm interested.
Yeah, I'll do it.
That'd be great.
I don't know how soon I can do it, but I'll do it.
Whenever. Yeah.
Mhm.
Whatever you can
Yeah.
do, would be wonderful.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right. Anyone else?
Jeff,
Yeah.
did you see the note that John McLaren put on the chat about willing to give a talk on the
Light?
lights
Yeah.
growing? So I think you should consider that. Have that schedule something.
He's online right now, actually.
Yeah.
I saw that. Yeah. Thanks, John.
Okay.
Yeah, and the other thing I was thinking is maybe I could I could record a video too, and then share that out to people. That might be good for people who can't make the Zoom or whatever. But next month or the month after, either would be fine, just depending on what the interest and schedule permits.
Could we put that on the website?
I think,
So people
yeah, I
can
think
watch?
that is great if we could put that in the website. If you have a video and then download it in our website, that would be great.
Yeah. Or we could do both. You can use it for the meeting and we'll post things that we do afterwards. We're recording this right now, actually. I may edit it to make it, we'll see how interesting it is for an hour and a half. But
Thank you, John. I'd love to hear about it.
yeah, that'd be great. Anyone else? Other ideas?
If you wanted to, you could talk about the Airtable thing that you use, and now we've adopted it as well to use as an inventory. That's actually been very useful.
Okay. Yep. That's pretty easy to do. Do people know about Airtable? It's an app that it's free, and you can use it to do spreadsheets, but it's very flexible, and you can keep pictures and all kinds of content in it. And I set it up as a to track all my orchids. Can carry it around on your phone. You can look at it on your computer. It's basically in the clouds. It's in the air, and you can access all your data from the cloud all the time. And if you're out doing stuff with your plants, you can just pick up your phone or your iPad or whatever you're using and enter it right there. And it's, it's easier than jotting it down and going back and forth. And you can include pictures of your plants, but everyone uses it a little differently. So several of us have shared what we do. So like, I think Ron and Jeremiah and Eric, and there's quite a few of us that have been using it and kind of share what we do, and you can get ideas from each other.
Is there much of a limit to how many records you can put in it?
No. Actually, it's something we could prepare. I can show you, actually. Let's see here.
What was the app name again, Jeff?
It's called Airtable. So AIRTABLE.com. And let's see here. Am I sharing my screen? I'm not. Let's see. I'm going to share my screen. And how do I get to? So I'll show you how easy this is. So you can basically, you open a browser window. If you can see my screen.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I just type in airtable.com. And then I set up a free account and it recognizes it. And this is my notebook. And then I set up files. And then it looks super complicated, but on the iPhone, it's even easier. So you basically, you go in and you, so let's say that I have a Dracula, and I put it in here, and I want to find my Draculas. There's 28 of them. And then it finds them down here. And if I scroll down and I pick one, so let's pick, let me see, I'm going to show you some in a minute. Let's look at, there's one called Vampira. Here we go. Dracula Vampira, right? There's one here. I had two. I got one for free at a Pleurophthalid Alliance meeting from John Leathers, and I got one that I paid $35 for in April of 2018 from Equigenera, and it shows that I have them versus this one from Andy's that I want that died. I had it and I killed it. This Dracula Vespertio, right? Cost me $31. And if you scroll over, you can see the fields I put in. I keep track of some like temperature, light, water, fertilizer. That's off like the way Andy does it on his tags. Right?
I don't think I'd want to keep track of what these cost me, because if they died, I don't think
Is it easier to use than Orchid Notebook?
It's very
that app. Is it easier than that one?
It's
Orchid
not
Notebook.
It's not easier. It's similar, but it's got a lot more powerful stuff to it. So you can always try it and see if you like it. And then like location, I have multiple places. I keep track of where they are, if it's mounted, potted, when you last bloomed, when you repotted, when it last spiked. And then you put in pictures, and you can see here, like here's a picture of Dracula Vampira from September 21st, 2018 up here, right? And then this is, so anyway, and I have multiple pictures of the plant or the flower and a website or other information. So that's just one field, and then you can play with all this. And then
what is the name of it again?
It's called Airtable. And then the last thing I'll show you before I back out of this is, so that's me up here at the top, my orchid collection and my notebook. I only have one. And then I shared it with people. So like this one, I think belongs to Jeremiah. And so these are the way he organizes his separate notebooks by plant type. Or, and then like John McCallan and Eric, this is Eric's, I think. Like people shared the way they did stuff with each other on here. So that's Airtable. But all right. I'm going to move on to show and tell then.
Oh.
So let me see if I got this right. So,
He needs to be muted because you can hear them rattling things around.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's me. That's me.
okay. No rattling. All right, let me see if I can set this up where it's prettier. All right, so I labeled these based on what you all told me. So they're kind of alphabetical. We'll see how it goes. So the Andrea
Yep.
sent, this is a blow up of Dendrobium kingianum Kennedy, I think.
Yes.
Right?
Kennedy.
And you sent 2 pictures.
Yes.
And you also, wait a minute, you
That
sent
was
me a,
just the purple.
you
Purple,
sent me a,
purple, purple.
you sent me a path as well, right?
Yes, I did.
Now,
A little
why-
slipper path.
Where did it go?
I was thinking of John when I took that picture.
All right, here it is. I didn't relabel it the same way. Here's the from you. So this is
Beautiful.
Path Delenatii, also from Andrea. Okay.
Nice.
The next group. So these are from Dave. So you guys speak
Yay.
up if you want to say anything differently. So Dave sent us some of you can see his beautiful place he's growing in. So Aranjus citrata,
Amazing bloom on that.
Dendrobium
Oh,
nobile,
nice.
Oh, wow.
a Dendrobium thyrsophlorum.
No, this is the Thrissiflorum. The other one was nobile.
Is that what I said? That's nobile, right?
Yeah, the purple one.
Yeah, this is Thrissiflorum.
Right.
No, yeah, this one is.
Yes. This is, so I have one of these, but it's a little tiny thing, nothing this big. So this is Epidendrum or Polybulbon, and I think it was called a few different things. It's been like Encyclia, and I think it is Epi again, right?
I think so too.
Dyneema, I think it was Dyneema at one point.
It's been around.
These are really fun. I like these. So
This is the one, by the way, that there was a huge
Oh,
amount of
look at that. It's green.
SFOS display.
right, that Blaine, I forgot his last name. Blaine, start with an M, from Orchids from the People.
Yeah, his was like 30 years old, I think he said.
50.
He had it from the time he was 18.
Yeah.
And then this is Dave's greenhouse.
Cool.
So Dave, you want to say anything, or Sam, do you guys want to speak about any of these? And then,
Well, that's just my greenhouse. It's got about 150 mounted orchids and a bunch of other things, begonias, tropicals, and on the right there's I'm growing tomatoes in the summer.
over here, yeah.
It's
And an Amorphophallus in the corner.
oh yeah, it's an blooming Amorphophallus.
Right
That was
here
just a couple
behind the
days ago.
chair. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I
You know, I
spy
don't
purple.
know. Oh, go ahead.
I spy purple. Is that purple over there on the right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's Cattleya jongiana.
Nice.
Actually, he has a picture of that, and for some reason, it shows up weird when I do it this way. Oops.
So that one's mine.
I know. I just see it got a line in it when I.
Oh.
Oh, there
Oh,
it is.
that one.
Well, let's look at some of the other ones. Dave sent more, so let's back up. I skipped one.
Nice.
I'll show you a better one of this. For some reason, let's see if I do it this way, it looks okay.
Oh,
Here's-
yeah. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Much prettier, right?
Yes, gorgeous.
Okay. Let's keep going here.
Dave, are you growing that in the greenhouse?
Yeah. That's an unheated
I
greenhouse.
think I got one from you.
Oh.
You didn't know it, but no, it's good. So Masdevallia tridens, and then Pleones, which are bulbs, right? That grow and kind of go dormant every year, right?
Yep.
Right. I'm growing these in the ground. They really seem to do great in San Francisco here. This clump's been in the ground for, I don't know, about 10 years. And I've got a few other named varieties right next to it.
And so they get water in the winter?
Yeah, yeah, but it's on a little bit of a slope and it's very sandy, so it's pretty well drained.
Oh, that's nice.
Okay, but you don't repot or anything, just leave them where they are?
Nope, don't repot them.
Wow.
So there you go. See, there's things you learn from seeing the way people grow without that might be better than the show table or things people wouldn't bring in. Right. All right. Anything else, Dave, that you want to say or any questions anyone has about those before we move on? All right. So now Deborah. So Deborah, you sent two, I believe, this Laelia anceps vechiana and
Ooh.
this Masdevallia schutriana caudata by coccinea. Up here, this pretty pink.
It's pretty.
Wow.
All right. Okay, I made a video, but I'm going to show mine last, so we'll keep going. So Heidi sent in, so these are two cymbidiums. I don't know, you were saying you were curious if anyone knew parents or names of these. I assume they're hybrids. I don't know how well known they are, but does anyone know cymbidiums well enough to give her some tips on likely parents or?
Yeah, they,
I have this is Deborah. I have
Yes.
some mediums the same color as that one, and it doesn't have a name either. So I'll be great to find out if it has some parentage.
Probably one of the ones from the division table.
well, no, because the pink ones came from a garage sale about 15 years ago, and the other one came from from the guy in Turlock that grows them.
Wait a minute. Sorry, I'm trying to get to the. Oh, no.
There's a guy. Wait. I don't skip that. There's a guy in Turlock that grows them.
Yes.
You're gonna have to hit me up with that because my parent. That's where I grew up.
Oh, I think he still grows them. I've had that probably 10 years.
Ah, okay.
All right.
They're in my yard. They bloom like the end of March, beginning of April every year.
Okay.
Nice.
All right. Moving on. Any questions? Comments?
Is it always that full or each year it gets bigger?
This is actually smaller than it's been some years.
Oh.
Some years there's more. There's four on the pink ones and only one on the yellow one. And I've had more than that.
How do you fertilize them?
I fertilize them when I water them, and in the winter I water them once a week. In the summer, sometimes when it gets really hot, I water them every day, and I cover them with shade cloth in the summer too. Because
So they're in the sun.
This is Modesto. It gets really hot here.
Hmm. Oh yeah.
Okay. So now this is Gia. Did I see your name right?
Yes.
So this is Lycaste consoborina.
Yes. Very cute. It dropped its leaves. I thought it was going to die, but out popped these flowers.
Beautiful.
Thanks.
How long have you had it?
A year.
A year. Nice.
Fragrant?
A little bit. Yeah.
All right. Well, beautiful.
Thanks.
All right. Oops, what did I do? Okay. Shoot. Well, there we go. Okay, now we're to K. So K Klum sent a couple of angles and a few different ones. So Angraecum leonis. So she said she grows this in an intermediate greenhouse. And this is another view of the whole plant, right, Kay? And this is Cattleya mossii albiform. So I haven't seen an alba one. I've seen the big pink ones, but this is really pretty. And Coleogene moriana Brockhurst, which she says is growing outside.
Practically naturalized. It's growing into everything.
And similar looking, but this is orangier. And there's Dendrobium Williamsonii. I think I spelled it wrong, but
I spelled it wrong. There's an N instead of an M.
But if you can't see, they're really cool. These have these from the side. You can see the little hairs that stand up, and it looks very textured this way, kind of like a brush. Almost, right?
That's the Coleogene.
Right, the Moriana. And the Dendrobium has that too, though. This Dendrobium has little bristles like that.
Got those fine black hairs on the stem too.
Oh, right, down here. Right.
Do you know what kind of insect pollinates those?
I don't.
It must give them like a massage or something.
Yeah, I was wondering, I wish Ron Parsons were on, because I was wondering if the black hairs had, what role they played in the plant's life, why they bothered putting those out there.
Probably to make it difficult to eat.
Could be.
This has to be slightly more difficult than the plant next to it, and it survives.
So here's another K-clum, Encyclia Cordigera alba. So I've seen the non-alba forms are very fragrant too. They have a pungent, like a strong perfumey smell. They're purple.
This one is nicely fragrant, not strong.
And it's mounted on a piece of bark?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, you can see.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And this is an Epidendrum brevivineum growing outside.
Yes.
And a Jumelia arachnanthe.
Another Madagascar plant. Madagascar and Comoros Islands.
Are these aren't fragrant, or are they?
Oh yes, they're very fragrant. That and the Angraecum are intense.
We used to have a Jumelia, and every time it bloomed, I would have to have Jason put it outside because it was way too strong.
Yeah, I have this at the far end of the house.
And
That's a
then
good problem to have.
Maxillaria neowhitei. And so you can see the little yellow flowers down in the sort of grassy leaves. And this I don't remember where you said this is outside, or is this in the?
No, that's growing in the intermediate greenhouse. It's a Brazilian plant.
Oh. All right. I showed this earlier. This was Andrea's Paphdelenatii. And then Rebecca Long, I don't know, is Rebecca on the line? So she RSVP'd and renewed her dues and sent in a picture. She was excited because she had this Blatia alba in bud in front of these cymbidiums, but it hadn't bloomed yet. All right, Ron. So Ron Norris sent him these pictures. So Coleogene pulchella, I think is how you say that. Cymbidium.
Hard to see.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Like orchid.
Yeah.
Pukella?
Yeah.
That's that one is growing mounted and it's growing outside.
The Coleogene?
Coleogene, yeah.
And then this Dendrobium farmeri. I didn't know there was a pink form. I'd seen the white ones. These are gorgeous.
Mm.
Also a little furry looking.
And that one's growing in the windowsill.
And Vanda pumila.
Yeah, I bought that plant a few years ago from Tropical Exotic, I think it's a show. It's been growing outside because it is a cold growing Vanda, and finally I got it to bloom, and it's fragrant as well. So I was happy to see it bloom this year.
Cool. Okay, Valerie. Valerie sent pictures, a few of them. So this is Epidendrum campestre, and it's on. She usually keeps it on an unheated sun porch on the back of her house, I believe. Right, Valerie?
Yes, yes.
And Laelia crispata flava, because
Yeah.
it's yellow. Pretty.
Yeah.
You have lots of pretty colored flowers.
Yes. And yes, and those are outside on my sun porch, on my deck in the back.
Uh-huh. And this is what you were referring to when we first started up. The coccinea is the bright.
Yeah, and it doesn't even capture the real color of it. It's just so intense in the sun.
Masdevallia and coccinea.
How much sun do they get?
They in the morning there's a little bit sun, but they're mostly underneath a vine that shades them. So that's a cool spot on my deck. It doesn't get any direct sun. So.
Oh, okay. So it's sort of shady.
Yes, and they're outside all year round. And there's a Chlorothallis truncata in the back corner that was glorious earlier in the winter and stuff. And there's Veitchianas to the right of that too that are blooming. So.
And look at this.
Renanthera. Push the space bar on the
monachica.
Monachica, yes.
And you have that up in your bathroom?
Yeah, and a little upstairs bathroom that has eastern light in the morning, so that's the sun shining on it.
Jeff, I have the same one that has 4 spikes, and I took a picture this morning, so I guess I didn't to you. But
okay.
I have 4. I had only 2 spikes last year, so being happy and getting bigger.
And another Renanthera. This is Story Eye, right?
Yeah, it's growing in the same room. Some of the flowers don't have all their petals on them at the end of the stalk, so I'm kind of curious about that. But the other ones are glorious. Yeah.
Maybe they got damaged or something.
Yeah.
And then this is a big Rhyncholalia glauca that
you
said is indoor.
Yeah. And it's got a kind of a faint lemony scent to it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's one that I had to cover in plastic at night. I couldn't take the fragrance.
Well, it grows next to Brassivola little stars, so that definitely drowns it out.
All right. Now let me see here. So I made, does anyone else have things they want to show for show and tell before I show a video?
Hey, Jeff, I just have a couple of plants that I didn't take any pictures of, but I can throw up in front of people real quick if that's all right.
Sure. Let me, hold on. Let me stop sharing and let me find you. That sounds like Jeff, right?
Jeff, yeah.
All right. There you are. I see you. Oop. Let me, why don't you take over? Let's see. I think if you talk.
He starts talking.
Okay. Does it, if I start talking, does it switch over to me and the camera here?
It does. It does.
All right. Well, let's see what happens. At least I'm holding in my hand. I don't know if any of you can see it at the moment. But
Yeah,
I
can.
I have a
Hold it up closer to your face. Yeah, there you go.
There we go. So very, very cute, what is it? Coccinea. It is, I guess it's now Cattleya coccinea, but it's originally was Sophronitis coccinea. These are ones that came from, I think, Fred Clark back in the day as like a flask that they've actually really taken to living up here. They're doing really well. I have probably a dozen of them. They're all starting to bloom.
Where's up there?
The other thing that is doing really, really well now that I've moved up to Northern California, that suffered through the summer in Southern California, were these Alma Masdevallia coccineas. So the Alba here is just starting to bloom. Looks really, really nice. And I have probably a half a dozen other clones of different colors. And they're doing just great outside. And then the last one actually came from our last meeting that we all had together, that from the opportunity table. My cat unfortunately ate one of the blossoms, but this is one of the, I think this is Haldeanum. Haldeanum. So one of the multifloral paths, blooming actually quite nicely, but you can see it's got a nice hole in the middle of it there where the cat got a hold of one of the blooms. Anyway, I'm pretty convinced that Felis domesticus is one of the biggest pests of orchids.
Not mine.
They can be.
Mine never have.
Well, never say never. My cats have definitely made a few orchids go to orchid heaven, or at least certainly set them back.
Well, mine know who feeds them.
Here's an example of one that was a plant that I got from AWZ that was, just starting to get going, that the cat had a good tasting of. Anyway, thanks.
Looks like Fred has one there.
Yeah, Fred and Jan, were you guys going to talk?
Yes, if I can get unmuted.
There we go.
Okay.
Beautiful.
I'm unmuted now.
Yes.
This is Path Urban Vogue, Urbanium by Vogue Wonder. And I've got a little one here. And we've got another little red one here. Then I got a couple of zygos over in the window. But can't get the, well, I guess I can move the computer over there.
All right. If you talk, it'll bring the screen back to you if you want.
I want to know who was the picture of in that formal gown in the background.
Yeah.
Fred?
Fred, say something so we can see
You're
you.
muted again, Fred. You're muted.
Oh.
We can't hear you, Fred.
There, I got you. Now talk.
He's still muted.
It's too bad. He was going to show a purple
Wait,
plant.
wait. I can help him here. Well, theoretically. Okay, Fred, maybe I'm working against you. You unmute yourself. I don't know what's wrong. See if I can make you the big. Okay, I got you where you don't have to be. We can't hear you, but I got you on the screen.
On mine.
Oh, no? Well, wait.
No.
All right, let me try this.
Yeah, how the display works is depending on how you've got it set up.
Aye. Hold on. Shoot. 1 second. Video panel, show.
So one thing people can do is to go to Fred's screen, and there's a little option there to pin his video. And then he doesn't have to talk. It'll just be stuck on him.
Oh, that's what I was doing, but now I can't. Oh.
I don't even have a little insert for Fred anymore.
He's right. He's
Probably because he's silenced when your audio isn't working. They're video doesn't show up.
Okay, Fred, talk now. I think it's gonna work. No?
No. You're still on mute.
He's still muted. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. We can see it. We just can't hear it.
I can't see it either. I can
I
see
can
you,
see
Bill.
it. I can see the purple.
There's a little grid on the top right corner, and that'll show everybody.
They're showing us a zygopetalum. Right.
Okay. Now he is.
Oh, okay. Now I got Fred.
Nice big zygo by the window.
Yes.
And another nice one.
And that was the picture. Yes.
Who was in it? I want to know who's in it.
We couldn't hear. You'll have to find out afterwards. How do I?
You're still on mute
It's probably his wife's wedding dress.
with long gloves.
On mute.
Sure, that's a while ago.
That was formal a while ago.
Yeah.
It won't let me do anything. I don't know.
Well, anyway.
All right. Thank you, though. That was beautiful. Does anyone else want to show anything?
I do.
Okay, go, Bill.
I want to show you something that most people never get to see is basically my backyard.
Oh, yay.
Can you see that?
Oh, nice.
No.
No.
Damn.
Beautiful.
I can't see nothing.
Oh, that's awesome. That's
Speaker
awesome.
view. Okay,
Wow.
so that's a Dendrobium speciosum. The reason I put that as the beginning is this has been a very good year for them. Normally, if we have a dry winter, it's a good year. They bloom like mad, and the buds down at the bottom don't rot, because if it rains at the wrong time, it makes them really short. Well, the nice part is when they're really long, I get displays like that.
Wow.
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 So I'll give you, there's a lot of different views of basically the same backyard. So this is my backyard at the peak of the bloom.
Oh.
Most of my backyard is Australian Dendrobium. So it's Kingianums and Speciosums. But one of them was taken to the San Francisco show many years ago. And the guy that helped me move it, we both agreed it's never leaving the yard again because they just get too big and heavy. One of these broke through the bench this year. So in the foreground, that's a Kingianum in the foreground, a white Kingianum in the foreground. And in the background is some more Speciosum. Lots of different views of that.
Are these fragrant?
Yeah, at the right time of the day, it's really strong. The funny part is, if you see this picture in the bottom left corner, there's one that's slightly yellow.
Mm-hmm.
Most of these were supposed to be hybrids with colored dendrobiums. Well, the white tends to be very dominant. Oh, in fact, this one here, the plant at the top of the picture, is the one that went to San Francisco a number of years ago. And that little Kingianum down on the bottom is in about an 8-inch pot, and the plant's 2 feet across.
Yeah.
So
wow.
A dry winter is really good in my backyard.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing those, Bill. They're really nice.
This is that spike's about 2 feet long.
Whoa.
Bill, where do you live?
Sunnyvale.
I like
Oh,
Japanese maple
nice.
too. Interspersed.
I have Japanese maples
Beautiful.
around the outside, and I had pictures in this slideshow of those, but I cut them out.
Yeah. So you bring your miniatures to the meetings then?
Yeah, these are the ones that don't travel because they're just too freaking big to move. I mean, this all the way around. I don't know if you can see my mouse pointing here.
Yeah.
Yes. That is one Kingianum. All that right there.
Wow. Or Specios.
That's one big friggin' plant. So they don't move.
How
Very
old is it?
I have no clue.
Oh, no.
Nope. So that's what most people never get to see because I can't move the plants.
Well, that was a treat.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Orchid tour, greenhouse tours.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, do that
Anyone
next.
else? Anyone else have something they want to show live?
Okay, we should be back.
You're back.
Okay,
Okay.
what's the picture?
Oh, the picture is Jan when she was in high school.
Age 18.
Age
My
18.
parents had that done, and we've never figured out where to put it or what to do with it, so it moves with us.
So I hang it in my office. So I logged out. The way I fixed the thing is I logged out and logged back in. So anyway, so the others were Zygos. So anyway, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Anyone else?
This is
Can
Eric.
I-
I've got a video
Can
at some point.
I show my screen with pictures?
Sure. Go ahead.
Just start sharing?
Okay. Go,
I'll try,
Tanya.
okay?
Yeah.
Just your share screen.
Oops.
There you go. I see it.
You see it? So the top pictures were taken this morning. So this is the Renanthera I was telling you about. This is just a single flower, but I had 4 spikes and just 2 flowers open. The rest hopefully in the next several weeks. That's another one. This is Dendrobium green something, green apple from R. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Really nice. Psychopsis. I have a number of Psychopsis. This is the first one opened this year. And for some reason, during rainy season, the rats come into my greenhouse and the only thing they eat is Psychopsis.
Oh.
I hate them. They ate so almost it's their play yard. I lost so many of them. This is Oncidium crocus. And I have less flowers this year. Usually it covered the whole plant. This is in a 4-inch pot.
It's pretty.
And then I have some Phalaenopsis on the lower bench that just opened.
Nice.
Beautiful.
This is Dendrobium dalvi. It's a Dendrobium spectabile hybrid. I forget the other parent. And this is in a 8-inch pot, and they started spiking a lot, so they just started to open, a few open. This is I can't pronounce, it's a hybrid of Cattleya with a bunch of number of Cattleya related, Botonia, I think. This one blooms about 6 times a year, maybe 7. So it's almost always in bloom. It also has Brassavola nodosa in the background. And this is a zygo hybrid, something moonlight. This one I got in Hilo, Hawaii, a couple years ago. And it blooms off and on. It likes to be very wet.
That's cool.
This one I don't have a name. This is, I believe, it's a Neo Phoenicia hybrid, something pink. Get the name. I didn't take a picture of the name. And here's my sweater for my little doggy that I. This is the front, and the back. So that's it for today. Oh, I also have, actually, let me show you my Dendrobium speciosum that I took a couple days ago. So
wow.
Look at that.
similar to Bill, I can't move these. They're so heavy.
How is she sharing this?
Good thing you got a nice solid crate under it, because it's going to be pretty heavy.
Yeah, they're huge. They're in the 15 or maybe 20 gallon pot.
Jeez.
And this is my Vanda. So I think that's, oh, and Vanda, this is Paki I got from Santa Barbara, and that's a hybrid. Here's the plant.
Wow, that's nice.
Tanya, there was a picture of a single flower towards the beginning of this series. What was it? It was so pretty.
The red flower?
Go further. Keep going.
That's a Kingianum.
Keep going. Keep going. That's pretty. Keep going.
These are outdoor, the speciosum hybrid. And some of them, I like tetragonum. So I got a lot of the tetragonum speciosum hybrid. They have pretty big flowers.
Wow.
This one definitely have a lot of tetragonum in the background.
Spidery.
Yeah, I got them from Fred Clark, most of them. They all have names. I just didn't take the names.
That's nice. Yeah.
This is Cymbidium, Mimi. This
That
one.
Oh.
This is a Lycaste.
Oh. That's beautiful.
It's a Lycaste hybrid. I can look up the name.
It looks like a shoal. What is that?
Shoalhaven?
Yeah. Or
I
something.
think that might be it. Yeah, I think it is.
Havens are white, I think.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Outdoor. Good, thank you.
San Jose.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Eric, you said you prepared something?
For irrigation.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So let me share my screen.
Tanya, you need to
Let's
stop
see.
sharing. Okay, there we go.
Okay, and here we go. Do you see my the video?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to press play. And this is in San Mateo, and so it's a video, so I'll just sort of talk about it. It's an outdoor and an indoor. It's about 32 by 16, so two 16 by 16 sections. This is the irrigation is what I'm going to show you especially. So this is the outdoor part. It's just a shade house. And so here's the irrigation. You can see it sort of operating there. The water sort of dribbling, and it'll turn on in a second. I've got drip wire over on the right that drips down on mounted orchids. See, now it's turning on. And so it forms like a rain on top of that's all mounted orchids right there. Can you guys see this all okay?
Yes, it's gorgeous.
That's awesome.
And then I got my finger in there, and then here's the other side, so you could see a different angle. And I've got some adjustable ones that I sort of move around on arms. Just sometimes when it's nice weather, I go stand underneath it, and that's sort of fun too. And here's a different angle. So, so those are misters. Those are on 40 psi. And here's one that's just single one that just waters this. It's very automated. I only go there like every 2 weeks or something. So this is a different watering system. These are larger volume, and the other ones water outside almost every day in the summer. These ones water like pots, so they water maybe twice a week or something. And you could sort of see how these, here's my arm again. That's always good. You could sort of see how those look. So I've got a combination of those, and that little thing up in the top there is a fogger. So I have foggers, misters, and just sort of sprinklers, I guess is what these would be called. And I've had this for about 2 or 3 years now. And here's a sort of view coming in the greenhouse. This is 16 by 16. So this is from when I first built it. So there's like the dry area right here. And then I walk in, and it's all automated too. So it looks a little different now, but you can sort of get a sense of what it looks like. And yeah, it's fully automated. So, you know, I go down there and fertilize things. That's pretty much, you know, it could theoretically go for a long period of time, for months probably, in a theoretical sense. But I like to go down there. And let's see what else. What's the next part of this video here? This is how I put those sprinkler heads on. So these are the drenchers. So I water the stuff that's mounted like every day or two, and these things come on maybe once or twice a week. It just sort of depends.
You must live in that urban farmer.
Yeah. Here's my. There's 15. I started half of that. I have 5 valves that are dedicated to the orchids. The rest of it's just for the yard. And at some point here, I'm going to put. Not too bad. The orchids don't use that much in the scheme of things. Here's sensor push that sort of shows me my temperature and humidity, and and then I have a phone-based watering system, so I can, like last year when I was in LA and it got really hot, I could turn it on manually from my phone. So that's my little video. So yeah, so that's it.
Great.
You guys see all that?
Eric, yeah.
Yep. Great.
That's well nice.
Yeah, awesome.
So it's
Awesome.
the San Mateo water is really good quality, so it's very convenient. You know, you can just sort of water it.
One question: what was your greenhouse covered in?
A product called Solex, which comes in rolls, and it's sort of cheap and comes in rolls and convenient to just sort of plop on there, and it's twin wall, so it has some level of.
That's the Solex with 2 X's, right?
I'm sorry?
SOLEXX, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm looking to replace
So
some glass panels, and that's probably what I'm going to go with.
It's cheap and easy.
Has it stood up?
Yeah, it's 2 or 3 years old now, and it's pretty good. I think they told me it would last about 10 years-ish is what you can expect. Maybe longer. 10 years is, by the time, in 10 years, the robots will have taken over, so.
All right, I made a video. Can I show anyone else or? All right, let me, I'll show you this video real quick. It's only a few minutes long. So let me share my screen. Thanks, Eric. Let's see here. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yep.
All right, let's see. All right, oops, let me turn it back a second. Wait a second. All right, I'm gonna start over. So this is our outdoor out back on our patio. So you come on 2 levels, you come out our back and there's 2 walls. This is a felt system where you wrap the plants in felt, and I have mostly masdevallias and begonias in here. It's a shadier area, and it's like where fuchsias and other shady plants grow near here. Nothing in bloom yet. There's the fuchsias you can see there. And now this we're going to go to in a minute is the plastic curtains are my Dracula pleurothallid house. And then in the distance is another wall that we're going to come to later that's out in the sunny area where I keep dendrobiums and things that like full sun. So now we're going into the fog house. So this is under the deck, and it has a fogging system that I'll show you in a minute. So this has hanging and some pots and mounted all around different kinds of pleurothalids. And up in the back here is where the fog's coming out. The greenhouse is on the other side, and I have this fogger system between the two, and it kind of branches and shoots out this ultrafine fog in either direction. And the fog comes in, and all the Draculas are right up there where the fog comes in, and then the rest, it kind of fills the room. So let's continue the video here. So this was blooming this morning, this hybrid Masdevallia Yugacensis bobbed by tourmaline red flame. And then there's a bunch of Masdevallia veitchianas behind it that we'll see in a second. There's some Restrepia. This is a really pretty streep species. Here's a big Prince de Valle, and then there's another little Veitchiana here. They're from Machu Picchu, and they kind of have this kind of fuchsia fuzz. So now we're back to a video where you can kind of see the space. Up here in the top, I have a rack with a variety of Neophoneutias out there. They're not blooming right now. And then on the, let's see, what do I got over here? On the floor is a big Pleurothallus restrepoides that you can't see the flowers very well. So here's what the flowers look like. I had that at POE and the floor display, but it was hard to see. And then there's a bunch of other pleurothalids here. I've highlighted a few. This is one of my favorites is Octavioi, or Octavioi. Looks like a little mustache to me or something. And a little Lepanthes. This blooms a lot, like for a long period of time, keeps sequential blooming. And then in the back there are the Draculas. So you can see hanging there is a Vampira that we're going to come on in a second.
There you go.
It's going to get better in a second. Sorry. So you can see the fog coming out. So this is Vampira, and this is Roselee. And then I have these Dracula Felix are really little. They're all around, kind of floriferous around the little pot. They're much smaller. And then we're going to leave there and go up into the backyard towards the greenhouse over here on the right. But before we do that, in front is the koi pond, and up on the hot tub deck, there's some Bidiums. So this one's in bloom right now, this ruby red baron, ruby iris red baron. And now we're going to go into the greenhouse, which is kept, I keep it heated over 50 degrees or 54. And then it's got the fogger and lots of fans to keep the mist. So this is Maxillaria punctata. It's kind of citrusy hyacinth smell. It's very fragrant. I have this Angraecum sesquipetale that's been blooming for a couple of weeks now. And this is a Maxillaria lepidota. It's kind of weird looking. It's been blooming a while. That's the back wall where a lot of mounted plants are. And then I have this Calalia or Dialea snowflake blooming right now. And that's the heater. It's just electric on the ground that turns on. And I have a Net Atmos system that I use to monitor temperature and humidity. And this is the fogging unit. This is the first one I got, and I actually replaced it with a bigger unit. This is a small one, but there's this one similar I use that's hooking up. Here's the Vanda area, and I have, sorry if it makes you dizzy here. This is Vanda coltana, that's an orange one that's blooming. There's a Vanda stylus, and then this, I really like this Brassiola yellowbird. It's a 4N. It's pretty big. And there's another Vanda pachy that I think someone saw. I love this, the spotted foliage on this, these leaves. That's a Maxillaria pseudo-Reichemiana. And it's got really cool flowers too, these little triangular, angular, fragrant flowers that last for a couple of weeks. Then there's Big Vanda, Cattleya lodogezii that I had in the show, still blooming. And then this is Dendrobium that's blooming. So now we're going out of the greenhouse. I have tiny little Kingianums by comparison to Bill and Tanya. And then out on my sunny wall, we're going down the stairs here on the right. This is the one that's out in the sun with succulents and Dendrobium Kingianums. These I just got like a month or so ago. These are from Asuka's collection that Dale was selling at the table.
Yeah.
So they were already in bud or in bloom when I got them, but they're out there. And then just to wrap up, I'm going to come into the house. So this is looking towards the house from the back deck. And you can kind of walk up in the top level of the house into the back room here. I have a little bit of orchid art. So these are prints from Stig Dahlstrom when he was here with that Veitchia. This is in the house blooming. It's a like a Hinaldium that Jeff Harris was talking about. And then I have this Gloria Nagel. It's kind of folded up. It's not perfect. And then this, we just got this painting of a Fairyana from Hawaii. It's painted on koa wood. So the pot is actually part of the wood of the whole frame is one piece of wood. And that's my little video.
Cool.
And this is at night. The lights, the woman that donated the glass bowl to the POE silent auction, she does glass, she's called the Glass Gardener. So she made this glass agave and some nepenthes, and they light up, and she's based in Berkeley. And she sells botanical glass art. So, all right.
And where are you located?
On Mount Davidson in San Francisco, in Mariloma Park. Yeah, Terracina Boulevard. All right. So, anyone else want to say anything? It's 8:30. I was going to wrap up soon and do the raffle, but we have time if anyone else wants to share anything. I think I got everyone that's attending and spoke in the bowl here. So we're going to do, we've got lots of, I printed out all the names, wrote the ones that showed up. They're in this bowl. For the people that showed. So we added everyone. So this is for, we're going to pull out 10 names to get gift certificates. We're going to do one per person. So I guess we'll, what are you doing there? Chopsticks? You're using chopsticks? Oh, just use your fingers. You can't see.
Okay, Joe.
All right. First name, Valerie Mountain.
Oh, yay.
Yay.
Woo.
Good. Thank you.
Second name, Earl Rathbun.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yay.
There's two. All right. You didn't show up. Tom is not here, right? That's the one. No, that's Eric Sale.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Number 3. Okay, we got 7 more. Let's see here. Kay Klum.
Thank you.
Okay.
Fred Anderson.
Thanks.
Okay, so that's 5. So we got 5 more. All right.
That's awesome.
Edith Bourbon. Edith, are you on the line? You are. Yeah. Okay. Number 7, Deborah Bales Qualters.
Hey.
Woo.
Yay, Deborah.
Awesome.
You go, girl.
Party over here.
Okay. We got there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Number 8 is Bill Weaver.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Bill.
Bill.
Oh, she's not here. Amanda, is Amanda on the line? Amanda? I don't think Amanda called in. Okay. Rebecca, is Rebecca on the line? These are from people that RSVP'd but aren't in. So, all right. Antoinette.
Yay.
Yay. Antoinette's here, right? There you go. Okay, so that's 9. So we have 1 more. Last one. 1 more. Joe.
Joe who?
You.
You did.
All right, Joe. You won one. So.
Huh. I didn't even know my name was
A green one.
All right. So that's the 10 names for this month. So I'll send everybody information, but basically it's how to connect directly with Tony Wells, and he'll deal with you picking out something to spend your up to 20 bucks on, and the Orchid Society will cover the shipping, so he can ship it to you, so you don't you can shelter in place and not have to be around other people. Still get a plant. How about that?
Okay.
All right. So before we sign off, anyone have any last comments, suggestions, or send them afterwards if you like, whatever works. But
Thanks for getting this together for us, Jeff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
this
and I
is
like
awesome.
I like
Yeah, this is
way of
awesome.
doing business.
Oh,
Yeah, it's fun.
This
Yeah.
is fun. Yeah.
thank you. This was fun.
Yeah.
Hi, Jeff.
Yeah.
I just was going to, after seeing the videos of Eric and Bill and yours, are we going to have consider again the Orchid tour?
Yeah. Once we're,
I-
yeah, we were gonna have one up in Bolinas, but they canceled.
Oh, yeah.
So we just have to reschedule.
All right. Yes.
All
Look
right.
forward to that.
All right. We'll see you next month for even more fun.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you.
Everybody,
Bye.
stay safe.
Take care.
Wow.
All right.
Good night.
Yeah.
Bye.
Good night.
Everybody.
Bye.
Stay safe.
Yes.